This is Miss Lisa, your art teacher. Do you remember me? I remember all of you. I could see your faces in my head like it was yesterday. So don't forget me, 'cause I'm not forgetting you. I wish I was there with you. And then maybe we could do art together, instead of over this video. But until then, I'm going to try to make them as interesting as I can so you could be happy. For those of you that are in the classroom, you have your teacher to help you. For those of you that are at home, I hope there's somebody there that can help you. And if not, just do the best you can. That's all I ask for. Doesn't have to be perfect. You know how I feel about perfection. Boring. I think that imperfection makes everything all the more interesting and beautiful. So, the snow is coming. Are you all ready? I'm ready. I'm going to put on my coat. I'm going to put on my mittens. I'm going to put on my scarf and my booties, and I'm going to go play out in the snow. Hey, what do you think the Native Americans did when it snowed around them? Did they have little mittens and booties to put on? Well, they weren't like ours, but they certainly were warm enough. They would use the hides and the fur from any of the animals that they hunted. They didn't waste anything, if you remember I told you about that. They don't waste a thing. So, when it snowed out there, they were toasty with the buffalo skins around them and blankets that they would weave together. They're so talented, very resourceful. Wonder how they carried things from place to place. Can you think how they carried things from place to place? Well, how did we carry stuff from place to place? Let's say you're going to visit somebody for the holidays. How would you get your stuff from your house to their house? If you're going to spend the night, spend a week? Oh, we would use a suitcase. Yes, we would use a suitcase. What would the Native Americans use? Well, first of all, I don't think they would have as much stuff to carry as we do today. They only kept what they needed. Really, they didn't have 25 pairs of pants. They didn't have 18 pairs of shoes. They didn't have what we have. They didn't need it. And they knew better not to waste it. We should all be a little bit like that. As hard as it is, we really should be. So, anyway, they did something different, but the same. We have suitcases. They had what was called a parfleche. A parfleche was a little bag, sort of like our suitcases, but of course much smaller because they didn't have all the junk we have. They would, with the smaller parfleches, they would use to carry things like a mirror or small tools, sometimes a painting kit. Believe it or not, they have painting kits, but it's different. They didn't have paint like us. They'd make their own paints out of oils and berries and things that had color and nature. Even food they would carry in their parfleche. The bigger ones, they might carry their blankets or maybe their one change of clothes that they had. But the parfleches were made out of the buffalo's rawhide. And I was thinking, because you're studying the Native Americans, how about we make a parfleche? But of course we don't have the buffalo rawhide. But we can make something that looks and feels like the leathery texture of the buffalo rawhide. But first I want you to think about this. What would you carry in your parfleche today if you had to go someplace overnight? I want you to make a list and put 3 items down. And then I want you to make a list of what you think the American or the Native American would put in their parfleche. And compare the 2 items and think about it. What is really necessary and what is just because we want it, because we're spoiled. Not that we really need it, but just make the comparison. Okay? It should be fun. Don't overthink it, just make it fun. Okay, now, I left a note for your teacher on the board. I told her to please prepare your materials to make our parfleche. What you need to do is take the brown paper that I sent for each and every one of you, get it wet, and then crinkle it up as if you just dried your hands or washed it and you're crinkling it up in a ball. But do it gently because you don't want to rip it. Then I want you to squeeze all the excess water out of it because it's going to shrink real small. Now very gently and very slowly open it up and lay it flat somewhere to dry. Okay, if you lay it over something, it's going to dry in that shape. So lay it flat, okay? You need a chance for it to dry before you start building with it. Okay, the next thing you're going to do, which should be the next day, you're going to fold your Parfleche. Well, I made one ahead of time. This is the one I made. I found this on my desk while I was working, so I just stuck it in there. I didn't send you a feather, I'm sorry. But I did send you your paper. This is the same paper, but I decorated it, which is what the Native Americans did. The women decorated all the Parfleches, but they really didn't know how to kind of like sketch any kind of paintings or figures. So they usually did geometric shapes, you know, your triangles, your squares, some circles. They kept it simple, just what they really could do. And that's what I did. I decorated this with geometric shapes, and I painted it with, I had some acrylic paint, and that's what I used. But something just fell behind me. But you can use any kind of paint. You could use markers. Pastels would work nice because they'll be really vibrant. Whatever you have. I also sent you a piece of the string. Now, this was trial and error. I had to make a few mistakes before I finally got it. So you're going to see a few extra holes. Just ignore them, okay? Nobody's perfect. All right, I'm going to open this up to show you how it started. When it dried, after I wet it just like you, then I just had one big piece of brown paper. What you want to do is fold it in thirds. Ones and ones. Okay, so that's 3 sections. 1, 2, and the center is 3. And then you do the same thing for the top. 1, 2. If you open it up now, we have 3 sections. I sent you instructions as well that should help. 2, 3. We have 3 sections going down and 3 sections going across, like a tic-tac-toe board. Okay? After you fold it, then decorate it. Draw it first with a pencil. Then then trace over your pencil with a black Sharpie. I'm going to show you what I'm doing because I should have done this. But as I'm looking at it now, I'm saying, I should have done this. After I'm done with my outline with the Sharpie, then I painted it. Use whatever colors you want. There's no right or wrong. However you want to decorate it, however you want to paint it. I also sent you some samples of some real, authentic Native American Parfleches. Parfleches. Okay? So paint it, let it dry, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I didn't do this before, but I'm going to see how it looks. So come on down and look at my desk. I'm going to do something again. Come on down. Come on by. Say this again. I like the way this came out. I'm very, very happy with it. But I like things to really be neat. So I'm going to go back over all of my work with my Sharpie. This one's not working too well. Let me see, do I have a big fat one? Here's a nice big fat one. I'm going to go over it with this big fat one, just to make it look a little bit neater. What is wrong with all my Sharpies? I think I need some new Sharpies. What do you think? This one should be good. That's a nice big fat one. And you don't have to do this. I just like things to be neat, and I really like the shapes to stand out that I made. Doesn't that look better? So when you're done painting, do what I just did. Go over your shapes and outline them really bold so they stand out. Okay, well, I'm not going to go through the whole thing because I want to finish this with you. Okay, well, now that I have it down here, you're done painting it. So now let's turn it back over. When the Native Americans would travel, they would place small objects in the center of their Parfleches. So I'm going to grab some items, like here's an eraser. Not that they need an eraser. I'll take this glue stick and maybe this piece of candy I have laying around. And I'm going to pack everything up to go traveling. So I'm going to fold over my one side. Then I'm going to fold over the second side. I'm going to fold up this side. and then I'm going to fold down this side. Okay, so now I see how everything's going to be. So what we're going to do on the top flap and the bottom flap, we want to go to the sides and punch 2 holes, one on that side and one on this side. Here's my 2 holes, and I'm going to do the same thing up on the top here. One on this side and one on this side. Okay? Now before I close this up, I'm going to get my rope and I'm going to thread the bottom hole from the inside out, and you'll see why. Whoopsie. From the inside out. See? Fold it down, then I'm going to bring over the top flap and I'm going to thread this through the top. 1 and 2. So now my stuff is nice and secure inside. So now I'm going to tie a bow. And I don't know where I'm going with one piece of candy, an eraser, and a glue stick, but they're nice and safe in what I call a Parfleche and what we know more like a suitcase. Can you imagine? This is what they traveled with? Do you think you could get all your stuff in there and travel? I don't think so. How cute is that? Geometric shapes, beautiful bold colors, nice organic string to keep it closed. Now if you notice, I had a whole bunch more holes. That's because I couldn't figure it out. It wasn't working. So now you know how to make a Parfleche. And you can use it as a little pocketbook to bring your lipstick if you're a girl, or if you're a boy. Some boys wear lipstick nowadays. And your comb, and of course a piece of candy. I don't go anywhere with without a piece of candy. That's just me. All right, guys, listen. Have fun with this project. I think it's fun. Make sure you prepare it the day before, because you don't want to sit there waiting for it to dry so you can draw and paint on it. You're not going to be able to do it in the same day. Trust me. I tried. I tried to rush it a little bit. So have fun with your Native American Parfleche, and I hope to see you soon. And if not, go have fun in the snow. Make a snowball, make a snowman. Just feel that cold snow. I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't wait. All right, guys. This is Miss Lisa, your art teacher, in case somebody forgot. And I am saying ciao for now from my table of art, and I will see you soon. If not, I'll see you next week, okay? Bye-bye. Be good. Have fun. Remember, have fun. Don't stress over this. This is fun, okay? All right. Take care, kids. I'll see you next week.